Hello, how are you? Well, I decided to do a little story time. Um, Maybe I need to do a little bit more lighting. Hold on one moment. Thanks a lot. I don't know if that's better, but I'm gonna maybe pull closer to the window where you can get a little bit more light. That's better right there, I think. Okay, I want to do a story time. Um, in life we come across a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios, and I want to share something with you about life. I remember one time, uh, I think my kids were young. I was newly divorced, and I ran across a girl that I knew. I can't even remember her name, and she said, "Oh, girl, I got a interview at Federal Reserve Bank." And I'm like, "Really?" And so she said, "Yeah, but I'm not going." Hold on 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Hold on, I'm coming. Thanks a lot. Excuse me. I had to go see about the dogs. Anyway, so she said she wasn't going. So, me being me, I'm not afraid. I guess sometimes I don't really think about it, I just go for it. So I said, okay. So when she left, I called the Federal Reserve and got me an appointment, an interview. So, I have had a little interview suit back in the day. We didn't have a lot of money. So I had a certain suit I wore for interviews only. Okay, so I made the appointment. I get there. Now, Federal Reserve, you know what that is. That's a bank for banks. I don't even think I was good in that at the time, but I still was going to try. I was going to apply because I figured that if a job is being done, meaning it can be done. So I always felt I could probably do it too. So I go in and they have applicants sitting everywhere, all suited and booted. And I'm just all happy like a fool because I don't know, I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get the job. So I speak to everybody. So I interviewed and I didn't know whether I had the job or not. I went home. Of course, there was a lot of them other people sitting there, so I just knew I wasn't going to get this job. So they called me and offered me a salary. Child, I was tickled pink. So I said, well, yeah, that sounds good to me. It was better than what I had. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a job. So I get the job. And it was in a department called check collections. This was a job where back in the day when people used checks a lot, which they don't now, there's this big computer and the checks are in a big tray and you have to run them through the computer. The computer separates the banks by the checks. So that was a physical job. So I thought about it. I said, well, maybe they knew them other people was going to take that job because, we'll take a physical job if it means putting bread on the table. I didn't care. So I did that for a couple of years. Then they had an opening in cash services. Who applied but me? So I applied for the opening in cash services, which check collections was at night. I worked overnight. Cash services was in the day. So, baby, that was a promotion for me. I took the job. So the job went smoothly. It was more tedious than the job with the checks because now you're dealing with money and food. Certain people dealt with food stamps. but I basically dealt with the money. Okay, now the situation with the money was there was a big container they called a bus, and the money was in this bus, banded up, 10 bands per, you know, rubber band or whatever. So I learned how to count money way back, um, by the bundle. Hold on one moment. Hello, I'm on live. You coming over here? All right. Okay. Bye bye. Okay, I'm so sorry. So, it's okay. So there were in this computer room was all glass to the outside. So because we were dealing with money, anybody walking down the hall could see in the room. And there was three computers, three rooms, and everybody was running the money. Now, as the money is being ran, all the money that say is old or whatever is shredded. Once that's shredded at the end of the day, that total of shredded money will then be replaced by new money. And that is how we have a certain amount of money in circulation. Okay, so one person is running the computer and it's long. I am here balancing as it comes off the computer. And at that time, I used to keep the pencil in my mouth because every time he pulled the tray off, there was a sheet of paper and it had to be balanced. And, it had to be balanced by the time he do another tray. Well, I had gotten used to it. So, child, I'm sitting there always looking cute. Now, on my desk was a thing that went around and around and around that I use when I'm doing the money in the little different slots. It's kind of hard to understand, but you get it. So there's a manager sitting at this side of the table, but he can't see me because there's a whole stack of money right here. But he's in training. There's another girl sitting here because she's doing what they call prep. She's prepping the money for the guy that's running the machine, and the guy that's running the machine is then giving it to me to balance out. And at the end of the day, everything that went through the machine plus the money that was shredded has to come back to what we started at. Okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm balancing, pencil in my mouth, and the pen fell on the floor. So the guy that was running, his back was to me. I bent over to get the pen, the pencil, and the little thing that rolled around snatched my wig off. I was flabbergasted. And the wig was still doing this. So when he turned around, he's like, shocked. I said, don't you say a word. Help me get my wig off of here. Now, if you leave the room, if one person has to go to the restroom, everybody has to go. So by the time I got my wig back, I put it on. It probably wasn't as good as it should have looked. When I stood up, the guy that was in training on the other side of the money looked at me like I knew he could tell something had happened, but he didn't know what, because the money was had him to the point where he could not see what happened. Whole wig came off. Y'all, that was the worst day of my life, I think. Good thing I had my hand plastic and I do have hair. I could laugh and cry. I didn't know whether to laugh and cry. My head was killing me because it ejected off. And we have little bobby pins here and there. I've never thought for that. I bet you one thing. Once that pin fell again, I never did lean over to get it. I'd push that chair back, I'd get it and keep it moving. That is just one of the stories that I felt the need to tell you. But the other part of that story is, don't ever feel that you're less than. Always feel like if they could do it, I could do it. Anywhere you go, you will have to be trained. I would have never thought that in a million years, that I'd work for Federal Reserve Bank. No experience, no degree, but what helps in any situation, and let me share this with you, is common sense. You could have 10 degrees, but if you don't have common sense, you will have a problem. It is always how you approach people, how you react when they approach you. You have to have a pleasant personality. You got to be able to laugh and have fun sometimes. You can't always be booted up. And with that being said, until next time with another story, I want you to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back at you. Bye bye.